Welcome everyone to our feedback on uncharted waters. Today I'm here with
Gül Aktürk. I'm a PhD candidate at TU Delft, and you have seen me from the previous slides from the case of Turkey.
And what we would like to talk to you all about today is about the cases of the solutions and strategies that you have discovered. We've already seen quite some fascinating remarks in this section, so definitely continue to put in your thoughts and comments. One of the things that has emerged very strongly is the necessity to rethink the boundaries, the borders between water and land. And these are really critical spaces to rethink. We see here images from the Magdalena River in Colombia about erosion. And we also see an image about how to use bioengineering projects to create new intersections between land and water.
So we have seen a lot of examples of flooding as a challenge in your cases. And we thought that this is a good example of showing nature-based solutions, such as growing vegetation, not only for the biodiversity, but also creation of recreational areas for locals or people to enjoy it. And yeah, this is a nice example of that.
And this is going quite far, because one of the commentators here on Beeston Canal, the learner wrote that he's aware of the potential sponge effect of the land during flooding, but that there are many more possibilities to make it something that is multifaceted. So not only using it for agriculture, but using it for leisure, really thinking carefully about the different plants that can be located there. And it might also be an opportunity here in the example of Eastern Canada, where seasonal flooding is captured in these kinds of unique spaces. And another learner also commented on it from a different location, from the River Trent, for example. So this is something we see all around the world. And we also have examples from other aspects of the importance of considering spongy lands, peat meadows in this case, because they play an important role in reducing CO2 emissions. We definitely need more spaces that serve as sponges, that capture water, that also serve as CO2 sinks, and they need to be taken into account in our planning, in our even in our decisions, what kind of functions we use, whether we use them for farming or whether we just keep them as nature sites. Turning now to the ways that you've used the Hull approach has also produced quite some interesting comments and remarks. If we start with St. Andrews, Gül, what did you think about that one?
Well, I quite like this example as it shows also the importance of constructing narratives of locals in crafts making, such as rope making and boat making. And this is a really nice way to enhance the community participation, and that is also connecting a Hull-based approach.
So we are talking about cultural engagement, and this was also visible in the discussion posted by the learner here. But we also saw that there are some needs to be aware, or to who should be aware of it and how. So one way is to use this for celebrations of heritage, as the learner of St. Andrews was mentioning here. But it's also important to as the second learner here on the case of Shiraz mentioned, that government and municipalities should know how to transfer this knowledge of heritage to people and to maintain this as this knowledge of history. And I understand it as also to say this is for everyday practices and not just as a occasional leisure activity. So those are this is one of the examples that we've seen. Community engagement is another one. Gül.
Yeah, the community engagement and like building cooperation, that is the most, I think, the key importance of this. integrating of these kinds of sustainable projects. And we see from the example of Valparaiso the importance of bringing diverse stakeholders together. And also the Beesten Canal was also stating the importance of this, local stakeholders and actors, but also public participation through the inclusion of communities.
Yes, and public engagement tools. I think knowledge about how to best do it, whom to engage and how to do it are really important parts of the strategies that we need to create, which is also here in the case from Venice nicely represented through the question marks about co-creation, which for me also signals co-creation, yes, but how? Similarly, dialogue, yes, but how, among whom? Sustainability, how, for who? And connecting with that different questions of private companies, government systems. So there's a lot of questions that still need to be solved, but asking these questions is the first step to get there. Did you want to add something, Gül?
No, I also like this diagram. Yeah. This is also showing, in a way, supporting what we have just talked about, and the dialogue and between farmers, industry owners, and public through public meeting, which I found also interesting in the case of River Magdalena. And I think also here the thinking about the river parameters and monitoring these systems as in regulatory systems is also important.
Yeah, and what I found fascinating in this description too is the importance of the culture factor. And I think we've seen that in several remarks, that the people had not really linked their waterworks to culture before. And this learner points out specifically the relationship between economics and culture as driving forces. And if we were able to bridge those two, I think we would be a big step further. And the example from Fort Vierikeschans makes a similar point. So it's about economics, but it's also about financial tools. And it is nice and it's important that a place is on the UNESCO World Heritage List, but just because of that, it doesn't provide funding. So we need to find funding from different bodies and activate these kinds of heritage sites for the local community, as Jyoti was also explaining in her video. So we hope that you have received some ideas on how to move forward, particularly with the HAL toolkit, and how to improve, facilitate the water work that you have chosen for future opportunities and to address the challenges that it's actually facing. So we hope to see you again soon, and thank you very much.
See you.